Now, in this part of the series, we will talk more about sin. Sin is a rejection, a resistance of God. God's love and His plan, His goals for me, I decide I don't need. I'm better. I have a better plan. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't need God. I don't want God. I'm resisting against Him. If I follow my plans and ignore God, then therefore the relationship will weaken. Maybe if I ignore Him long enough, the relationship will break. God, when He created us, gave us free will that we can make the decisions for ourselves if we want to follow God's plan or not. In our hearts, He made us to follow His plan. He made us to receive love, but God allows us to choose. God says to each one of us, I want you to love me, but I'm not going to force you. You decide. If somebody forces another person to love, then it's not love. Love is a free choice. Now, when we talk about sin, it can be an action against God. It can be speech against God, against God's plan. It can be my intention, my purpose for something. I don't want to follow God's plan. For a sin to be a sin and for me to be responsible for it, I have to choose, freely choose to do the wrong. If something really is an accident, it's not a sin. I have to choose to go against God and do something wrong. Now, as we mentioned before, when we sin, my relationship with God is hurt. My relationship with other people is also wounded. And my relationship with the world, with the people in the church, even my relationship with myself is fragmented. That is the consequence of sin. Now, the Catholic Church defines sin in two different categories. One type of sin is called mortal sin. Another category of sin is venial sin. Now, let's look at both of these types. First, we'll talk about mortal sin. Mortal sin is a very serious sin. It is against some grave value. For example, life, the gift of life. But if I murder, I am hurting that person. God created that person in His image and likeness. He has a big value. But if I'm taking away that life, that is a mortal sin. Another example might be stealing something big like a car, stealing a large amount of money from a business, for example. These are serious issues. Now, if we do commit a mortal sin, that relationship is broken. But for it to be a mortal sin, I must know that the action is wrong. I must be free to decide, free from coercion or influence. I make the decision and I do it anyway. I know it's wrong, I'm free to decide, and I choose to do it. There's no coercion, there's nobody forcing me to sin. I have to be free. Now, venial sin is a less serious sin because it deals with a less important value. For example, stealing, but let's say it's stealing a pack of gum. It is wrong, of course, to steal. God commands us not to steal. But we're talking about gum compared to the revenue of a business. A mortal sin is quite serious. A venial sin is less serious. Now, killing a baby in abortion is a mortal sin. That baby, it has value, it has dignity. We cherish life. And if we murder, if we kill a baby in abortion, then that is a mortal sin. Now, if I yell at my mom, that's not a good action, but it's not at the same level of severity.